You'll be like, what? There are certain mistakes that people keep repeating. So today we are diving into different aspects and different things to take care of when you want to learn a new language, or you're learning a language and you still keep facing certain problems. Of course, hi, welcome back. My name is Paulina Lemonizi. If you're new here, welcome. On this channel we talk about productivity, language learning, self-growth, and so many different aspects. Oh yeah, let's get started. So the first one is so common, like I had to put it first. It is so ubiquitous. It's everywhere, and this is a type of mistake that sometimes doesn't even depend on the students, but on the teachers. The thing I'm talking about is focusing too much on grammar. If you focus too much on the rules, on the theory, and you never put them into practice, it's actually extremely difficult to learn those rules and those structures because you never experience them. Never. So yes, there's a lot of theory, a lot of grammar, and it is fundamental to learn, but is not the only thing that will help you improve a language. You could learn the whole grammar book and still have a lot of issues. You would probably have a lot of issues with speaking, listening, and different skills, because grammar is not the only thing you need to learn when studying a language. What are we learning the language for? Probably to watch something, read something, talk with somebody. So in those contexts, the grammar book won't help us if we can't even express ourselves or we can't understand what the other is saying. Don't focus strictly on grammar. Try to focus on different aspects. We will get to it. There are some topics which are probably unknown to so many students, and that's a huge mistake. Another aspect which is completely neglected is phonetics. Have you ever seen these symbols? Maybe you know how to read them, probably not. If you know how to read them, let me know down below. But yeah, this is the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. You have the writing, the form of a word, for example, this, and this is, you know, what we read, the way we write. There is the phonetic transcript. This is fundamental because if I know how to read this, I don't need to know what this looks like. This is like the form, the way we see it. This is the way we pronounce it. Do you need to learn this alphabet? No, of course not. If you do, it's a plus. Of course, it would be great, amazing, but you don't need to learn a whole new alphabet, but you need to practice phonetics. And phonetics involves so many things. It's not just the way we pronounce words, but it's also the stress, the intonation, the whole musicality that comes with the language. But nobody really teaches how to take care of pronunciation. It allows us to be understood by someone. It allows us to sound more intelligible. I'm not talking about sounding like a native. Like if you have an accent, it's absolutely great and don't even stress about it. But the thing is, some people don't really know how to pronounce words correctly, and that's a whole different story. So if I asked you what functional language is, you'd be like, what? And that's exactly the whole point. Functional language is so underrated and it is so important because I already mentioned this on my channel, but functional language is helpful and it allows us to sound more, not even native-like or fluent, but it makes us sound more polite, more human, like we're not robots. I will definitely talk about functional language more in depth. That's something we achieve and we learn probably with TV shows or series like movies, because we hear it a lot. How to apologize, how to ask for permission, how to be mad at someone, how to show respect, how to get back from an interruption, how to interrupt. There's so many different interactions between us humans, and it could be summarized with functional language. So underrated. Okay, mistake number 4 is something that it's probably an issue with self-learners, people who study alone, people who want to improve their skills and are autonomous, which is great, but there's a mistake that a lot of students like this make. Devote a lot of attention, a lot of their focus on a topic they enjoy, they like, they're interested into. So for example, I love shopping, I love makeup. I only listen or read or, surround myself with that topic. Certain topics make us feel maybe uncomfortable, we're not really interested in them, or for example, they're boring, we couldn't care less, or we don't even think about them. But those topics are probably very important. Some learners never deal with health. Some learners never deal with direction giving, or maybe they deal with it because they have to. In the first years, they study a language and then they just let it go. Crimes, for example, politics, nature. And I believe that having a teacher helps a lot, because a teacher chooses various topics and it's kind of homogeneous, or at least there's a large choice. Whereas if I'm studying alone, I will probably look into materials which I care about and I enjoy. If I don't care about history, maybe I never deal with history, but that's important to know too. At least if you want your learning experience to be complete and feel complete, you need to deal with more aspects. So for example, in my experience, I was so good at makeup vocabulary. I was like great at makeup vocabulary. I started watching a cooking show, and half of the words, of the phrasal verbs, of the culinary terms I never heard of. This mistake is this is bad, and I hope it's not as frequent as the others. But sometimes we are wired in a certain way that we believe that other languages are a mere translation of our own language. All you have to do is find the same word in the different language and you can just translate one-to-one. We can't compare one-to-one languages. Even if they're very similar, there's a whole different mentality, a whole different mindset, different traditions, different things that exist. There are so many expressions and words that exist in a language and don't exist in another, and vice versa. Different concepts, maybe the same thing has a different value to different cultures, and it reflects also on language. So it's very important to also distinguish this. I received a comment not a long time ago when somebody said, how can you not have phrasal verbs in Italian or in Polish or any language? Phrasal verbs are something which non-native speakers find so difficult. This is an English thing. And another simple example could be, in English we have articles, right? We have a and the and no article. In Italian there's a lot of articles, a lot of them. And in French there are some articles as well. In Polish, articles don't exist. So when I was studying English at university with other Polish students, I had it so much easier because I already knew what the article is. For people who don't have articles in their first language, it's a total different challenge. The article has no purpose. Why would you use it? Because in their language, they're doing just fine without it. Yeah, that's basically a core thing people don't even realize, especially if you're stuck to a language. It's culture, habits, history, and linguistic influences. Idioms can't be translated. There are very few exceptions, but usually idioms can't be translated verbatim. So how would you do it? The list goes on and on, but never make this mistake of believing that languages are just one reflection of another. There's so much more into it. And this last mistake is probably more a problem of mindset. So many students make this, and it makes my heart so heavy, and I totally disagree with this. And when I was a student, I did it myself, and now I'm trying to avoid this when I'm learning different languages. Students get disheartened and students become so demoralized because their self-talk, their inner voice is negative. It's so negative. You keep repeating to yourself, this is too difficult, this is too hard, I'll never learn this. This is too much to remember. This is too complicated for me. I'll never sound like a native speaker. Some students fail before they even start, because when you start with that type of mindset, no matter how much progress you make, it is still not enough. But nobody learns a language like overnight. It's impossible. And the mistake here is you need to accept that there will be topics which you enjoy more and come easier to you. And some things will be more difficult, it will take more time, but you're still making progress. The only fact that you want to learn and overcome that kind of problem, you want to learn that thing, and no matter how difficult it is, you still want to, strive and be good at it. That's already a success. If I ask students, are you ready? Are you excited? Are you willing to learn something new and deal with something more difficult? If your answer is not really, the chances that you are going to learn that or you're going to enjoy the process or succeed in the process, they're so much lower. Or even worse, even though you're making progress, you don't see it because your self-talk is so negative. You keep saying, this is not enough, this is not what I want, this is not okay. Working hard for difficult and better and higher results is okay, but always take time to acknowledge what you have achieved so far, and that a week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, you weren't able to do what you're doing now. You know something you didn't know back then. I will improve, I will be better. Oh, I did this and I am better now. I can do this. I accept this type of challenge. And yeah, that was it. These were the mistakes that I see all the time, and of course there are more. Of course there are different perspectives, and I'm very curious about you. So let me know down in the comments what you think about this, and yeah. And I will see you very soon with a new video of mine. Thank you so much for getting to the end of the video, and I will see you next week. Bye!